We're on a journey from field to fork.
By 2050, there are expected to be 10 billion people on the planet. How to feed everyone is a profound question for the whole world and is set to transform farming in the decades ahead.
You feel like you are part of the change that could transform the way people eat.
From preserving water, the lifeblood that feeds the crops,
We've increased our water use efficiency by over 33% in the 20 years.
to regenerating the very soil they grow in.
This is a liquid fermenter that allows us to scale just a little bit of microbes into a lot of microbes.
From sustainable and safe food
Welcome to the largest vertical farm in the world.
to protecting the environment and reducing waste.
It's an amazing feeling to see that you can contribute to something that will change the world.
To explore how innovation and modern agriculture are leading the way.
It's fundamentally a game changer for farmers around the world.
To reform our land and diet and connecting farmer to consumer. In this episode, we're looking at how we future-proof our farming systems against a rapidly changing food landscape. Climate change, a growing population, and evolving consumer habits are putting pressure on agriculture to create new and innovative sustainable food systems.
Welcome to Follow the Food. Farming can be a significant contributor to pollution.
And feeding this growing planet has taken its toll on our already fragile ecosystem. Fortunately, though, the industry has been trying to find new, less damaging, and more productive ways of farming to create a much cleaner enterprise.
So, what are those innovative, sustainable solutions of today that we're going to rely upon to protect and feed our planet tomorrow?
To understand more about how we can increase output without placing further pressure on our fragile ecosystems, I've come to meet Kristalina Georgieva. Widely respected for her efforts to mobilize the international community, she has been calling upon the wealthiest countries in the world to assume greater responsibility for our food systems. Together with the World Bank, they've helped invest $20 billion in climate-smart agriculture projects.
Why is the World Bank so focused on sustainability in agriculture?
Today, we face a dramatic challenge because agriculture not only is eating up our forests and affecting our biodiversity, it is turning into a big risk for the future of the climate. Agriculture today produces 25% of CO2 emissions. And if we continue as we do it now, by 2050, it would be 70%.
Can we change things completely enough to help us by 2050?
Yes, we can. Farmers are now also on the receiving end of environmental degradation and climate change. Droughts and floods lead to catastrophic impacts on them. So they're saying themselves, something has to change.
Who are the most important players we need to get on board to make change happen quick enough?
Everybody has a role to play. Research has a big role to play. In production, moving to climate-smart agriculture, producers have a big role to play. Transport, logistics, storage, big role to play. All of this has to be connected, and we all need to move in sync.
To meet expected food demands of 2050, agricultural output will need to increase by an estimated 60%. But a decline in productive land, limited fresh water supplies, and an increasingly fragile climate suggests that if farming remains the same, it may not be able to produce the required food needed. To experience one possible solution to this problem, I've come to downtown Newark to check out something rather inspiring in a very uninspiring setting.
This could be any industrial area here in the United States, but this inconspicuous building behind me is hiding a secret, one that has the potential to dramatically change the way we grow our crops.
David Rosenberg is CEO of AeroFarms.
Welcome to the largest vertical farm in the world.
Wow, this is incredible.
At over 3 stories high, this 70,000 square foot space has the potential to grow more than 500 different food crop varieties, growing up to 2 million pounds of greens annually.
Why do we need vertical farming?
The world's lost a third of its arable land in the last 40 years. 70% of our fresh water goes to agriculture. 70% of our freshwater contamination comes from agriculture. Due to population growth, by the UN's estimates, we need 50% more food by 2050.
How many acres would it take to grow this much in traditional farming?
What we could do in 1 acre, it would take about 390 acres to grow.
Not only does this method of farming dramatically reduce the footprint, it also requires no soil at all.
It's a little bit hard to grasp conceptually that plants don't need soil and they don't need sun, right? Because that's what we think. We think plants are grown out of the ground and the sun helps them grow.
So we're able, with LEDs, light emitting diodes, to give the plant the spectrum that they want, mostly blue and red, which is, by the way, a cooler spectrum, more energy efficient, more photosynthesis efficient, and we're delivering nutrients and micronutrients at the root structure. It's the air in AeroFarms refers to aeroponics. The roots are dangling down. We're misting nutrition to the root structure.
How much water do you use here compared to what one would use to grow this in a more traditional way?
Different crops, the answer is different, but we could use as much as 95% less water to grow a plant.
Is this the future?
Vertical farms is going to be more and more relevant to a wider area of crops, but it's not going to displace other forms of agriculture.
On paper, it sounds like growing indoors vertically could offer an environmentally sustainable solution to meeting increased food demand. But what does a plant that is grown with no sunlight or soil actually taste like? Co-founder Mark Oshima has the answer.
I am ready to taste these.
Well, this is the fun part, yeah, where we get a chance to enjoy the product, and it's all freshly harvested.
All right, arugula.
So,
we need a lot of arugula in my house.
So
high bar.
High bar. And here we're actually focusing on the pepperiness on it. So we're making it really bold and
It's
peppery.
going to be very spicy.
When people enjoy arugula, this is really going to deliver that.
Amazing. It's just so flavorful. How do you monitor everything that's going on in all of these trays on all these levels?
Well, we have sensors integrated into the design, so we're looking at every one of the key variables: temperature, humidity, airflow, CO2. And so our team members can actually see, what's happening in the systems. They can go to monitors like this, or they can actually look at their handheld, but they can actually then look at variables within each of the different growing towers and systems that we have here. We're constantly thinking about how we optimize the right growing environment. And it all starts with thinking about the plants. How do we create the perfect environment? We're able to grow indoors and things that we're starting with. So we think about the seeding, the germination. We actually grow without soil. We grow on cloth, and this is actually something that we have patents on.
Wait, so this is the cloth. So no dirt, no soil.
No dirt, no soil.
Seeds go right here on this cloth.
And they sit on it. It's stretched out into these trays that are 5 feet by 2.5 feet. And nothing ever touches the leaves, and so the plant is actually pristine. It's ready to eat.
1/3 of the world's fertile soil is now degraded. Growing crops without it would give our overburdened farmland time to recover.
How much time does it take to grow a plant in a controlled environment like this compared to what might happen outdoors?
Here at AeroFarms, we can grow that baby leafy green in 12 to 14 days. Out in the field, it will take 30 to 45 days. Why? Because we're giving the plant exactly what it needs when it needs it. So from the light to the nutrients, and thinking about how to create the perfect environment. So this is game changing. This means up to 30 harvests a year. Out in the field, you may have 2 to 3 harvests.
In 10 years from now, might there be an AeroFarms in every city and Dream Greens, local greens, in every supermarket?
So our focus as a company is how we bring this out to major cities, not only here in the US, but around the world. And we see an opportunity to be able to have a major impact.
If we're going to feed the growing population, we need disruptive, innovative farming methods that utilize cutting-edge technology, but in a sustainable way. Who knows? Maybe in a decade's time, there'll be one of these in every city.
Coming up, a pioneering solution for reducing excess.
Whoa, what just happened?
And nature's own pollinators turned protector.
Can we see the bees now?
We can.
Oh, wow, I can hear them.
We are looking at the new ways in which farmers around the globe are tackling an increasingly complicated issue of creating sustainable food systems for a rapidly changing climate and agricultural landscape.
To meet increasing food demand, the pressure is on to produce more efficiently. But the world's most influential minds agree this cannot be at the expense of our already fragile ecosystem.
While climate-controlled environments used by the likes of vertical farming could be seen as a way of mitigating the negative impact of climate change, how will conventional farming future-proof itself? I've come to Boston, where a group of U.S. technologists have come up with a seriously clever way for transforming a farmer's primary crop protector.
Valuable crops like these are vulnerable to insects and diseases, which is why growers use pesticides. But the process of using them is very inefficient. Only 2 to 5% gets to where it needs to go.
I've come to meet Associate Professor Kripa Varanasi from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, who is leading a project that could drastically reduce excessive pesticide use.
Farmers need to completely cover their plants, otherwise the pests will come and get them, and they have loss of yield and a whole range of other issues. If you look at how much is sprayed and what ultimately ends up on the plants, it's staggering, because there's only 2 to 5% of what's sprayed sticks to the plants. Most of the plants tend to be hydrophobic, so they repel water, like Teflon, for example, is hydrophobic. So similarly, plants have waxy layers that both help them as barriers, but also help them to clean easily. And so these pesticide drops, when they hit the plants, they can bounce off. So the remaining, 95% of it is ending up in the soils, which then could get washed and end up in rivers and lakes. And so what we are trying to do is come up with a technology that can help farmers and to significantly reduce the amount sprayed.
The groundbreaking tech solution Varanasi and his team came up with was to harness the power of attraction between naturally occurring positive and negative molecules in liquids. To attempt to get my head around this, I head to the Institute's greenhouses, where Dr. Meher Damak is now refining the solutions under real-world field and greenhouse conditions.
Can you show me a little demonstration?
So here I have a water spray. So this is pure water, and most pesticides are water-based solutions. So it's a very similar behavior to water. So you can see that as I'm spraying, this water beads up and you don't get a uniform coverage. You get small islands of water on the leaves.
Yep.
That's really bad in some cases because pests can still get to the leaf, and so we're using a lot and getting little coverage.
Right, and everything that doesn't stick to the leaf is going somewhere else.
Absolutely. So either it's carried through the air or it falls down to the soil and then groundwater, surface water, and all these.
So it's just wasted.
Things.
All right, now let's see how it works with your solution.
So these are the solutions of water, or what would be pesticides, combined with our charged molecules. So you have the positively charged molecules, I have the negatively charged molecules.
Let's see how this works in comparison.
One.
Oh, sorry. Oh, whoa.
So you can see here that we have a uniform coverage of the leaf with the film. So if this was pesticide, this leaf would be completely protected from pests, and we have much less roll-off of droplets from this leaf.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, there's much more retention here than here.
So much more retention. What just happened? How did these interact so that the leaf is totally covered?
Yes, so when we sprayed, from each of our spray bottles came a stream of very small droplets. So when droplets from that solution that are positively charged and droplets that are negatively charged from this solution came together and combined on the surface and coalesced, there was a reaction that happened between these two molecules because they are attracted to each other due to the charge effects. And that's what makes droplets not bounce or roll off and stay there. And as you could see, very soon we can get a complete coverage of the surface.
It looks so obvious, right? This is the thing about engineering and about science is once you get the result, it looks obvious, but...
Exactly, yeah. 5 years after, it looks obvious.
Pesticides are very expensive for a farmer. What kind of cost does this add?
This doesn't add any costs. The objective is to reduce costs. So Pesticide costs can be very important for the farmer. They can be up to 50% of production costs for some crops. And this has shown the potential of decreasing pesticide usage by up to 10 times. For anyone familiar with kind of the profit margins in farming, that's a huge increase in their profits. Farmers now are struggling to make a profit, and if you cut their costs, you can have a profound impact on their ability to produce and to keep their business. What's also been very exciting is working with farmers all over the world and kind of see their excitement and their enthusiasm to be more sustainable and reduce pesticide usage, and offering them a solution that actually works.
Today, this project is still in its infancy. It's being tested just at a few farms. But if you think about this solution being implemented across the globe, the positive impact could be massive. The innovative science and technology being developed here certainly has a place in reducing environmental impact while ensuring food security. But does the idea go far enough? What can be done to limit pesticide use in the first place?
Changing to a more sustainable way of working is going to take some radical ideas. I'm here at a blueberry farm in Georgia in the United States to see one of those ideas in action.
Running the farm is Win Morgan, whose family's been harvesting blueberries here for the past 3 generations.
What do you love about blueberry farming?
Oh man, I love that it's one of the healthiest, if not the healthiest fruit in the world. And it tastes really good, right?
How do diseases hit blueberry plants?
Blueberries are one of the most disease-susceptible fruiting bushes that you can have. I make the joke that sometimes if you sneeze around one, he might get what you've got. Last year, right during harvest, we started seeing some, we call it flagging, go on in the field. That happened on the level of 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 plants. And so you're looking saying, uh-oh, when's that gonna stop? It's a very stressful situation financially. You have to rip up the whole row, replant your babies again, and then wait another 2 or 3 years to get them back to the level that they were at before.
The truth is, the volume of produce you need to grow right now would be very hard to achieve without chemicals.
It would be virtually impossible. We could have things show up tomorrow. We could have winds come in, we could have a hurricane come up in out of the Gulf, we could have something drop in from one of those that's a foreign disease or a foreign insect that we haven't seen before.
But Win has heard of a far more natural way to protect his precious berries, using nature's own delivery system, bees.
Bees are the most crucial insect we have. The reason why is because the pollen from one variety of blueberry is transferred to the variety next to it. That's a different variety. And so cross-pollination means more seeds, more fruit. So why not use the guys who are already going out and doing the work to do the good stuff that we're trying to do for the plant as well?
Ian Collinson has helped develop a technique of harnessing the pollinating power of bees to individually deliver disease-resistant microbials direct to the plants.
So this is my suit.
This is your suit.
All right.
Yep.
How do we get it on? Okay, it's good that this fence is behind me. I am pretty sure that no bee is getting in here.
I think you're going to be safe.
I'm covered.
Safe from stings, I'm getting to see just how this ingenious method works up close.
So inside one of these boxes is 4 hives. So for blueberries, you need about 4 hives per acre. We know our product can travel a certain distance before it falls off the bees completely. So we make sure that when we put our systems into a field that we have a nice even coverage so that we're hitting every corner.
Can we see the bees now?
We can.
Oh wow, I can hear them.
Yeah, they're quite loud.
Oh my.
And
wow.
so then here are your 4 hives. If I open this up.
Here they come.
These are all your worker bees, your drones.
Wow.
So you can actually see that's the beginning of a brood, and they'll start reproducing, and this brood will actually get quite big. It'll fill this entire space.
It's while the bees build their intricate broods that they are unwittingly delivering the vital disease and pest control powder.
So you just grab a corner, pull back the foil, very, very fluffy, as you can see.
And so the bees will just simply walk through.
Yep, they just simply land right here and they'll walk all the way through. This will be their exit hole, and they walk all the way up.
As they walk across the protective powder, it clings to the bee's legs and body, ready to be delivered direct to the plants.
You open up this first door, and then in here, there's another plastic door, and you simply just drop it in, and you're good to go.
That's it?
That's it.
That's easy.
It is very easy.
Right. The bees are the ones doing the hard work.
They are, yeah. We can provide a daily delivery rather than a spray which can only be, say, twice a month. We're using less water because you're not tank mixing our product to get it out in the field, like you do with spraying.
1 year on, and bee vectoring at Wynn's farm is showing signs of success.
The technology is game-changing, is what we believe. Ultimately, we have not had the disease there that we had the year prior.
We've done studies, I think, to show that even just the yield increase far outweighs the cost of the system, not to mention all the disease controlled.
As the demand on our farms increases, growers need to ensure they're getting the most out of every single harvest, making sustainable crop protection more important than ever. If technologies like bee vectoring reduce our dependence on chemical sprays, the future can only be positive.
For Kristalina Gorgieva, the future of our farming landscape has hope.
Every single day something new is being tested, and we have that obligation to be the transmission line for these ideas so they move faster.
But you must face roadblocks, not just the World Bank, but people who want to make change happen must face roadblocks all along the way.
Let me tell you, it is in agriculture where indeed we are a little bit behind in terms of disruption and transformation. But if you want to get somewhere, the road is a series of small steps. Persevere in the right direction, and then good things would happen.
In order to move towards a more sustainable future, we must transform the way we farm our planet. Producing more abundant, healthier crops using less land, water, and chemicals will be essential in the coming years to meet the growing demand for food. Agricultural pioneers are searching for solutions to create a sustainable farming landscape for the future. To see what's happening, go to bbc.com/followthefood.